Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Well, we are really honored to have with us today Paula Kewskin. She's an attorney. She's a writer and a producer of Honor Diaries, all-women documentary about forced marriage and gender inequality in the Muslim-majority society, and the author of her latest article published in the Wall Street Journal, Bring Back All Girls Trapped in Sharia Law. And we're here to learn about that incident as well. Hi, Paula. Good to see you today.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Great. Where are you? Where are we bringing you in from?
Jerusalem.
Wow. The picture is terrific. Nice to have you with us today. Thanks for your time. Well, this is an incredible thing. You know, we're hearing a lot about Boko Haram, but maybe a lot of people don't know about Boko Haram. Can you start there?
Sure. Boko Haram is a terrorist group. It is based out of Nigeria. They have a stated goal, which is to turn Nigeria into a Sharia state. And so that would be a state that would be dictated by Sharia law, laws based on the Quran and other philosophical ideals. And they have been wreaking havoc on that country for years, in fact, and have caused the deaths of many, many innocent civilians. So unfortunately, this recent kidnapping is just one incident in a spate of very violent and targeted attacks.
So what's the motive, Paula, behind this kidnapping of these 200 girls?
Well, I guess we could think about a lot of different reasons for the kidnapping. Certainly, like I just said, they do believe in the idea of a Sharia state, and as such, they do not believe that girls should have access to education. In fact, the name Boko Haram loosely translates into Western education is sinful. So for them, the idea that girls would be allowed to have an education, would be able to fulfill their dreams is frankly just viewed as something that's sinful and antithetical to their ideology.
And that is the essence of your recent article in the Wall Street Journal, Bring Back All Girls Trapped in Sharia Law. I don't know if we in the West understand how dangerous this is if we don't speak up now.
Right. Well, that's the link that I was trying to make, which is that unfortunately what's happened to the girls in Nigeria is similar to what's happening to girls all over the world. So in Saudi Arabia, for example, another state that's dictated by Sharia law, women are treated as if they were perpetual minors. They're not allowed to drive a car. They're not allowed to leave the country without a male's consent. They're not allowed to own businesses without a man. And so we see that this is something that takes place systematically in many, many different parts of the world. And I don't think that we're quite making the connections that we should be making, that what's happening in Nigeria is not an isolated incident.
So what do you think will happen to these girls?
Well, unfortunately, you know, I think that our imaginations can take us to some pretty terrible places. The leader of the group has said that he wants to sell each of the girls into marriage, quote unquote, for $12 a piece. And of course, this is not marriage. This is really sexual slavery. I do hope that there will be some type of exchange worked out, or some type of situation in which the girls are brought back to safety. It's something that we should be all hoping and praying for, and pressuring our leaders and our governments to hopefully get a smooth and swift resolution. Are
you frustrated, like most people, that we're not doing more? It seems like we're throwing a lot of words at this, but that's about it.
Yeah, I am a bit frustrated. I think that we have a responsibility to help girls and women all over the world who are affected by this. I'm certainly encouraged that the First Lady held up a sign. I'm encouraged by a lot of different diplomats and celebrities have held up signs and have joined the Twitter campaign, but it's going to take a lot more than a few words and a hashtag to really see effective and lasting change.
These girls were primarily targeted because of their faith, right?
Yes, it seems that in some sense they were, although there were Muslim and Christian girls kidnapped. Of course, one of the first things that the kidnappers did was forcibly convert, or allegedly forcibly convert, the girls to Islam. And so, again, I think that what we're looking at is a very specific type of Islam, a very extremist form in which, according to these individuals, this type of education is sinful, and that women shouldn't be allowed this type of an education.
Paula, I know my next question might sound political, but I'm really trying to get a feel for this. It appears that our current administration, i.e. our president, seems to be sympathetic to Islamic rule. Therefore, nice words are said, but nothing's really done. The First Lady held up a sign that said, "Bring back our girls." It went viral. Certainly felt good, but nothing came of it. And you had a different response to that.
Yes, I think that there's a lot more that our administration can be doing. As I wrote in the op-ed, the president was in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia in March, and he had a meeting with the king. And I think that there's a lot that he could have done to exert pressure to say that we won't stand for this type of behavior. And again, I'm referring to the way that women and girls are treated in Saudi Arabia. They're perpetual minors. They're not allowed to drive. Not to mention, if a woman is caught as an adulterer, allegedly, you know, she can be stoned to death. I mean, there's some really horrific abuses taking place against women. And the president did give an award to a woman in Saudi Arabia for her activities on behalf of women's rights. But I really feel as if it's a drop in the bucket. There is so much more that can be done.
Didn't the Saudi king's daughter speak out?
Yeah, exactly. There are a few of the Saudi king's daughters imprisoned, kidnapped, as it would be, behind palace walls. They've not been able to leave the palace compound for years, in fact. And two of the daughters spoke out via, I guess, Skype or YouTube to say that if they're being imprisoned against their will, if they're being denied freedom of movement, then can you imagine how bad it is for the rest of the women in Saudi Arabia? And they pointed their message at President Obama. They said, how could you be coming to Riyadh right now, of all times, when we're imprisoned? How can you be sitting with our father when he's the one responsible not only for our suffering, but for the suffering of women all over the kingdom?
You see, I don't think we, for some reason, even in the faith community, understand this kind of inequality. It's just, we hear bits and pieces of it like this, you know, gee, we say that's bad. But this is a way of life in a lot of these Islamic countries, and the world just kind of goes quiet on this issue.
It's systematic oppression of women. It is institutionalized misogyny of women in the name of faith, in the name of culture, in the name of some political ideology. And it is affecting millions and millions of women all over the world. There's a terrible case in Sudan right now of a woman who is at risk of being executed because she's a Christian, and she's living in Sudan. This is something that it takes place every single day. And I'm glad that the Nigerian kidnapping has brought this attention to the world view, but we really shouldn't stop there. It's something that needs to be investigated much deeper.
Speaking of the woman who's up for execution, she's also pregnant. We're hearing all kinds of stories about that, but we're going to stand by as a civilized country and watch somebody innocently be executed? I mean, it's just crazy.
It's deplorable, but it's unfortunately not the only execution that's taking place. There's a woman in Iran right now. She is up for execution as well. And what was her crime? She was trying to defend herself against a rapist, and she stabbed him to death in self-defense. She too is on death row. So like I said, there's a real pattern taking place around the world, whether you're talking Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Brunei, Nigeria, and yet our governments do business with these other governments, and I think we really need to take a stand against that.
The threat of expanding Sharia law throughout the world is real, isn't it?
It is real. It has cropped up not only in cases in the United States, but also in the United Kingdom, in which different groups have pushed for acceptance and adoption of certain elements of Sharia law. You're absolutely right.
Wow. So what is your work, Paula? What are you doing there in Israel?
Well, I'm just finished working on an amazing documentary film. I encourage all of your listeners and viewers to go see it. It's honordiaries.com. You can check it out. The name of the film is Honor Diaries. It tells the story of 9 brave women's rights activists. It's one of the first films of its kind to break the silence on so-called honor. And honor is this abstract concept by which a woman's life is completely dictated by her family, whether it's who she can talk to, whether she has an education, who she can marry. And it also involves abuses like female genital mutilation, or FGM. And unfortunately, what's trying to be instituted in Nigeria would very much take the honor system and institutionalize it. So we try to break the silence on this issue, and we've got some amazing women telling their stories in the film.
Well, congratulations again. Honor Diary. What's the website again? HonorDiaries.com. HonorDiaries.com. Well, Paula, you're a delight. Thank you, and thank you for your work. Keep up the good work, and let's stay in touch, okay?
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
All right, nice to have you with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at the Dove TV. Did you know that when you support the Dove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Well, we're back, and great to have back in the studio with us today Chuck Heeman. He's the general manager of Medford Rogues, the baseball team that's here in town, and starting their new season, and they have some needs and some improvements, and a lot of things going on. Hi, Chuck. Good to see you, man.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Keeping you busy?
Oh, no. We're trying to find a way to kill 8 hours a day.
Yeah, right. He said coming in the studio. He said coming in the studio is living the dream.
Oh, absolutely. This is something we started putting together last year, and now that we're a year in, it's been fantastic, and I couldn't ask for a better place to be.
Well, the new facility is just great.
It is. We finished construction right before the season last year.
Yeah.
We expanded the ballpark from about 600 seats to about 2,500.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've had a couple small improvements this year, but the bulk of it was done last year, and people come in the place, and they're just blown away.
Yeah.
We had a weekend tournament, the Yogurt Hut youth tournament this last weekend, and people that had never been there before just walked in and they go, wow, and the kids love playing there. You know, most of these kids will never play in a facility that nice in their whole life, so the building's been great.
All right, so season officially starts
in 2 days. In 2 days, we hit the road. We open on the road in Marysville on Thursday. Our home opener is Saturday night, the 31st. We're playing the Seattle Cheney Studs, who used to be in Medford. They originally started in Medford about 50 years ago, and moved to Seattle. And we are opening with a doubleheader. So we're going to give people 2 games followed by a fireworks show. Wow. And so we're going to start off with a bang, and then we're into it. We're just no turning back.
All right. Now, last year, folks, Chuck came in and everything was new and things were happening and it was very exciting, and all that now is well underway. But there is one need that continues from season to season, and that is you need some host family for players.
Absolutely.
And I was delighted last year that a lot of our listeners and viewers came to your aid. And you have, how many do you need this year?
We're in pretty good shape. We need about 5 or 6.
5 or 6
Last year we needed about 17 or 18 at the last minute, and we were really, I mean, we were looking at how many bunk beds we could put in our house and things like that. And I remember coming here last year really turned the corner for us.
All right. So if you tell them what they need. I mean, you're asking a player to come into their home, but they're kind of like a stealth.
The thing is,
like a stealth visitor, aren't they?
Well, the things to remember is these are college kids. They're coming straight from college. They're used to living in dorms, 3 or 4 to a room. When they travel on the road, they're 4 to a room. So it's not like they need a suite at the Ritz. They basically need an extra bed or an extra room. They're almost never there. This year we play 66 games in 72 days. So they're either at the ballpark from mid-afternoon on or on the road. So the reason we do this is because we don't pay the players. Right. They're college players, so they can't really afford to get apartments.
Right.
So this helps a lot. But it's really, and we found last year, and I've been doing this for a while, so I know that our host families, they get a member of the family. Wow. It's not, you know, within a couple of days, you know, the players there, and they're college kids. They're serious about their craft. They're not into party and mess around. Our players are players that are looking to move to the next level, to get drafted. So they're very serious about it. And we tell them when they come in, guys, this is your basically a 3-month job interview. So they're not, you know, they're not bad guys, and we're very serious about our players. So in return for hosting a player, you get free season tickets for everybody in your family. We give you a lot of discounts on food and merchandise. We do specific host family get-togethers, things like that. So there's a lot of love that we throw you, because it is a big thing to ask a stranger into your house, but within a couple of days, he's not a stranger anymore.
All right, so we need at least 5, 6, 7 homes, 7, let's say 7 of you. If you have an extra bedroom you're not using, and you want to make it available to one of the Medford Rogue baseball players, you can give Chuck a call, 973-2883, 973-2883, or contact the Medford Rogues office, and you need them right away.
Players are already in town.
They are.
We're pretty well set for the early players. We have some players coming in first week, second week of June that we're struggling with.
Okay.
But the guys that are coming in right now, we're okay. But if you give us a call, that'll give us time to talk to you. And what we do is we match you up with a player who kind of fits your home.
That's wonderful.
Oh yeah, and my wife Myra is fantastic at that, and she did a great job. And she's kind of our social director, and she takes care of those things for us.
All right. Well, so if you ever considered hosting, and it'd be doing a great thing. You'd be have an impact on a young person. They'll have an impact on you. You can go to the Medford Rogue games and have a lot of fun. Well, I have to say, Chuck, you put together an incredible ball club. This is a huge turnaround. I know you need some host family, and then you have special nights out there, right?
We do. We run into town, or run around town, and we talk to people, and they remember back when the A's and Timberjacks were here at Old Miles Field.
Right.
And everybody has such good memories of that. And so our business model is patterned exactly after that. It's all family entertainment, fireworks, bobblehead nights. We're doing 5 bobblehead nights this year. Nobody does that, and we're doing it because our sponsors have really come through for us to make it happen. Family discount nights. Fred Meyer has a Family Fun Sunday program that we're doing. So it's really all built around, you know, bring your family to the ballpark. You're gonna have a blast, and there happens to be a ball game going on. If you want to watch it, that's great. If not, you know, you're gonna win some prizes. We do a lot of giveaways during the game, on-field contest, you know, kids mascot races, all the standard stuff. But we were really able to start that last year, and this year, really the pressure's on us to improve that.
Wow.
You know, we drew about 1,400 people a game last year. Our goal this year is to get to 1,800 a game. I think we'll do it. One of the big factors in increasing attendance is our fundraising program, and we have, I know, July 15th we're doing a faith night where we're reaching out to churches to fundraise for themselves. Right. If they have a youth group or a choir or somebody that needs some money, we have a way to help you do that. Yeah,
they work a package deal with you, and that might be something you may want to consider, is have your youth group or whatever sub-ministry you have in your church get a hold of Chuck and getting part of that. It's coming up July 15th.
July 15th, correct.
All right, that's a big thing. We love filling the ballpark for that one. All right, again, if you have the ability to house a player, 3 months basically?
Yeah, 10 weeks, yeah.
You know,
they're coming in now.
They're not there every night. They're maybe there a couple nights a week because they do a lot of traveling. But
some of our host families get a little upset that they're not there enough. Once they get to know him, it's like, I want to spend more time with him. Well, he's got to go to college and play the Black Bears. You know? So it's really a neat thing.
Well, that's wonderful. All right, 973-2883 is the number to get a hold of Chuck if you're interested in becoming a host family of one of the players, and they'll be in and out of your home just a couple of nights a week. The rest of the time they're on the road playing ball games. And I just want to say, as a community, let's get out and support the Medford Rogues. Chuck and his team has done an excellent job putting all this together.
Well, thank you.
And Faith Night coming up July 15th. That's something that you and your organization can work with Chuck on and use it as a fundraiser. Thanks for making that available. That's a great idea. I know you did it last year too.
We did, and it had some success.
It was wonderful. Yeah.
And this year we hope to build it to where we sell out the park. And our fundraisers, I'm very clear about it. It helps us
Yeah.
because we get people in the park who had never been there before.
Right.
And so obviously it helps us, but it's the way that we can help the community. You know, and I'm sure you do as we do. A lot of people want us to write them checks and support their causes,
Right.
and there's only so much of that you can do as a business.
Right. Right.
It's just the reality of life and business. But this is a way that if you put a little effort into it, you can help raise cash money for your organization,
Yeah.
and again, it helps us that we get people to the ballpark that haven't been there before. So it's a win-win for everybody, and it's a very easy program to do.
All right. Season starts in 2 days, but your homeowner is this coming Saturday.
Home opener is Saturday.
It's a
doubleheader and a fireworks
and
show.
a fireworks
I don't
show.
know what else to do.
Hot dogs?
If you want to play, we may let you play. Throw a jersey on and put you out there at second base. You never know. But it's going to be fun. We work all off season. We work 8 or 9 months and behind the scenes to get all this stuff put together, and now it's time where we're talking to Bruce outside, and you equate it to a tax guy around March and April, where it's all day every day, and that's what you sign on for, but that's what you love.
Well, baseball, the All-American game. Well,
Yes,
let's do it. Let's get out and support them. And again, if you can possibly consider being a host family, one of the players for about 3 months, and believe me, they're not there for every night. They're on the road a lot, but maybe a couple of nights at the week during the week at the most. Give Chuck and his wife a call, 973-2883. Chuck, thanks. Thanks for what you do. Keep up the good work.
Really appreciate it.
We'll see you at the ballpark. Huh?
Thank you.
Okay, buddy. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at the Dove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at the Dove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Okay, we're back, and delighted to have with us today Terri Rasmussen. He's the president of Redemption Ridge, an incredible ministry right here in Southern Oregon that's reaching out to victims of sex trafficking and bringing healing and help and hope back into their lives. And Terri, good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you. First of all, before we get into all this, you got an event coming up first part of June. Tell us about it.
Well, on June 3rd, we have Dr. Becca Johnson coming in, and she is a psychologist who has been working in the realm of human trafficking. She's a psychologist. She's been practicing for 25 years, the last decades, really specifically focusing in on sex trafficking. And she works with girls at an organization up in Washington State. She works with an organization in Cambodia. Wow. She's been to Thailand. She has been all around the world, India, Chile, working with girls, training staff how to help these girls with what she describes as trauma-sensitive care. Mm-hmm. And it's really just a holistic way for a staff to operate, helping these girls through their trauma.
Well, I interviewed Dr. Johnson. She was phenomenal.
Yes.
And you know what was so interesting? There's no question in my mind that God has put on her heart to do this. She has such a deep, almost broken passion to see these girls rescued and helped and healed. And so what an opportunity. So where and when? What's the deal?
Well, let's see. Tuesday, the 3rd, we will be from 8 to 5 p.m. at the Smolin Center. Okay. And that is $25. Which includes lunch and a light breakfast, and that is actual training. If someone is needing continuing education hours, we do have that has been accredited. Okay, so there'll be continuing education hours. On the 2nd, Monday the 2nd, from 6:30 to 9 o'clock, we're going to have a pre-conference session, and this is what we're really interested in talking about this morning. That's going to be more open to the public, something that the general public might be interested in. And she's going to be talking about just an overview of human trafficking, what's going on, what it looks like. And this would be a very good conference for anyone who is interested in maybe volunteering in the realm of human trafficking with an organization, or even anybody working with social service agency or another nonprofit who's working with traumatized children.
Wow. All right, Redemption Ridge. It was a dream. Now it's a reality.
Well, it's getting closer and closer. Just as far as getting the building open, we're very close to submitting licensing with the state of Oregon. Hopefully, next month we'll be making that submission to the state.
And the hope of this is what?
Is to open a home here in Southern Oregon, where these girls, these would be minor age girls initially. We could have a home where these girls could go and heal and recover from their trafficking, the abuse that they take, the raping that takes place on a daily basis for these girls. We have, over the last probably 4 months, seen 3 girls come out of escape their trafficker here in the Medford area.
Escape here?
Escape here.
How do they do that?
Everyone has a different story.
Okay.
Everyone has a different story, but they get away, make contact with us. We placed one a couple weeks ago out of state in another home because there's no place around here to take care of them.
Yeah.
We've got another one in another week or so we'll be placing in another home. So we're working with these girls, you know, doing the work that we can right now until we get our own home open.
Wow.
But we're getting the girls placed, and that's difficult because you have to talk and find the bed. The challenge is finding the open bed to get them.
Have you talked to these that have escaped? Have you met them?
I personally have not met them. They have. Well, that's not true. I met one as we were getting ready to transport her.
Right.
I did meet her. But it's usually different women staff with Redemption Ridge who are dealing with them.
Okay.
A lot of times with the men being the abusers, I try and stay out of the picture.
Sure, I understand that. I understand that. So it's real.
It's very real.
It's very real. And I would assume that once Redemption Ridge is in full swing here, the home here, how do you get the word inside the trafficking industry to these girls that if they come to Medford, maybe they can escape and find a place for help?
Well, these girls are escaping at different locations all over the place. The nice thing here is that there's word on the street now there's an organization that can help.
Right.
So these girls are literally finding us within hours of getting away. So the issue isn't getting the word out. The word's already out. It's getting the location.
Does authorities know that you're there? So
very much so.
Okay.
We're actively involved with Jim Williamson, who's with the Medford Police Department. He's a detective who focuses on crimes against children. We're connected with all kinds of social service agencies, which includes a network called CAN, who is a co-sponsor of this event.
Right.
It's a child abuse network, and so we're working with all of those.
All right, so the Tuesday event, the evening event, is this for people who may feel called to come in and help you?
Absolutely. That's exactly who this would be called for.
Okay.
Just an overview. She wants to share her decade experience of working with survivors. What does it look like? And part of the issue that they're finding, and International Justice Mission has taken on her methods for all the homes that they work with because of the success that they've been having with it. But a lot of times you'll have a woman who's been traumatized, and the difficulty is she goes in to a facility for counseling, but the people that she comes in contact with before she gets in to see the therapist may trigger issues in the person's life, in the client's life. And so trauma-informed care is a complete overview of an organization as to how everybody, from the person at the front door to the person at the back door, when they leave, handles and treats this person, and so that nothing's triggered along the way.
Right.
And when you're talking about girls living in a home setting, there's so many different people who could come in contact, whether it's the house mom that's there, a teacher, a therapist, the guy who's mowing the lawn. Everybody has to be informed of how to treat, how to react to, how to deal with these type of situations so as not to bring more harm.
We are talking long recovery, aren't we?
Yes.
And
yes.
I think that's the thing that people need to understand. I know when I was talking to Dr. Becca Johnson, outside of direct divine intervention, most of the healing process, which is, certainly got involved, but it just takes a lot of time to break all of that.
We met with a director of another facility down in California a couple of weeks ago, and he said if they can't potentially have the girl for at least a year, that they usually don't bring them in.
Oh, really?
So their facility is for minors, so they won't take anyone over about 16 years old. If they age out at 18 and have to move on, if they're 17 and a half years old, it's difficult for them to even get to work with them. He says it takes the first 3 months for the girls. They don't really do much with them except just let them exist in the facility, just to let them come down from the high trauma that they've been on. They're so closed up, and then you'll begin to see them break down and weep and that type of thing. But the first thing is just to let them come down.
Is there an attempt to reconnect them with their family?
If the family's healthy.
Okay.
Absolutely. Reunifying them with the family is absolutely the goal if it's a healthy family. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of times these girls are being trafficked because the family's unhealthy to begin with, and that's where the abuse began. Right. But there are girls, and we have some here that we've dealt with, who actually come from healthy families. Wow. And or the family was unhealthy before. Yeah. Maybe it was a stepdad who was the abuser. Well, the stepdad's no longer in the picture. Mom is healthy, and we try and bring them back into that situation.
All right. So somebody might be interested. I mean, you'd have to be called of God to do this.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I know your own journey into this, kind of kicking and dragging, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yet, what a rewarding thing. You know, it can be real frustrating trying to deal with all the different things of getting an organization like this started. But all that kind of goes to the wayside when you actually start getting hands-on and you actually start seeing the girls and the recovery and the hope. You know, it was interesting, the one girl that was transported out of state was taken by two females, staff people of Redemption Ridge. And the trip was, you know, 8-10 hours long, and throughout the day the conversations and the wonderment and the sweetness of the conversation in the car with this victim, and then the reports that we're getting, how encouraged she is and hopeful she is, and just in the first 2 weeks.
All right, so if somebody feels led to investigate this, that's what June 2nd's all about.
Absolutely.
So what do they do?
They can go to our website. It's actually the best place to learn more about the event, and that's redemptionridge.com. Okay. And they can click on you'll see the banner at the top, and they can register. And if they need the continuing credits, they can register for the conference. If they just want to do the pre-session, there's no cost to that. Yeah. That's free. And the information is there as well.
RedemptionRidge.com. And I would encourage you to, if you're feeling tugged by the Lord to maybe get involved in this, just go to RedemptionRidge.com. Now, a lot of the stuff, once you're up and running, will be fairly confidential. I say totally confidential, but, you know, kind of below the radar. You don't want a lot of people know where it is and what you're doing, right?
That's exactly right. It is confidential. It's unfortunately, we're dealing with abuse. And quite often, the abusers will pursue them and try and recruit them right back out of the homes if they know where the homes are. So confidentiality is key.
Yeah, and training. You just can't walk in and do this. You got to be trained.
Yes,
that's part of your licensing and everything.
You have to be called, committed, and trained. Absolutely, because you know it's easy to get the hype up and go, oh, you know, I want to jump into the middle of this, but we're talking about very injured, very difficult people to work with. These are not girls who just say, hey, come heal me up, I'm ready. Some of them are not at that point.
Well, in some ways they're wet pups, aren't they? You know?
Yes.
Now, if somebody is past that age, can they voluntarily be there? Or do you primarily take them up to the age of 18?
Well, the specific home that we're opening right now will be for minors only. DHS will not allow a mixed population of adults and minors. Okay. Then our goal is, once that's up and running, then to also get a home for adult women, 18 to 25, you know, that kind of age group.
And I would just say to our viewers and listeners, this isn't just something that popped up like, well, here's a ministry, let's do it. There's a need here.
Oh, very much a need.
And, you know, Dr. Johnson spoke of the I-5 corridor in Medford, and, you know, and I was kind of staggered by it, and I've had you on a couple of times, but just how big is the problem here?
It's huge. The I-5 corridor, which runs right through the middle of our valley here, there are girls being trafficked through here on a daily basis. So the inevitability is these girls will escape. Not only that, but a lot of these girls that are escaping are from our own area. These are our local girls that have been trafficked out of here. So it's happening, and not only do we need to help rescue these girls, we need to help educate the girls, the teens, as to what's going on out there. These guys are luring them away because it doesn't look like alluring when they lure them away.
The other thing, Terry, before we're done here, and that is that the laws are beginning to recognize this and change, and they're no longer considered prostitutes but victims. And I don't know, where is that process?
It's moving along pretty well, and there's more laws coming down the pipeline. But yes, you're correct. The laws are recognizing them, and there's now what's called a rape shield law in the state of Oregon, which protects the girls from having to face their accusers in the court, just like a rape victim can testify on video, that type of thing. So those laws are in effect. But more importantly or just as importantly, I would say, as the laws, is the training for law enforcement and judges and district attorneys and first responders of all types to recognize what they're seeing and treat the girl as the victim rather than treating her as the criminal.
Well, this is terrific. And again, let me encourage you, redemptionridge.com. You may want to circle June 2nd. That is a open to the public kind of investigative opportunity to come in and see how you could be trained. If you actually want to attend the full seminar, it's a day seminar and training session with Dr. Becca Johnson. That's the following day on the 3rd, and that'll be over at the Smolin Center right across the parking lot there from our VMC. Terry, thanks. This is wonderful. RedemptionRidge.com. Thanks for what you're doing.
Appreciate you having me in.
God bless. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at the Dove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on the Dove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Well, welcome back. Delighted to have with us today Todd Starnes. You probably have seen him on Fox. He's a host of Fox News and Commentary, regular contributor to Fox and Friends, Hannity. He's a columnist at foxnews.com and townhall.com. He's authored several books. But today, Todd has made it to the big time because he's on the Dove TV. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
It's great to see you, too. And hello from my office here at the Fox News corner of the world.
Well, there you go. Well, you're radiating through Southern Oregon and Northern California. How's that?
Praise the Lord. It's interesting. I was just in Northern California. Well, sort of not really Northern California. I guess it was more Central California. I was giving a speech over the weekend at the Reagan Ranch. Oh. And to be perfectly honest with you, I really wasn't sure what to expect. They were feeding me lunch. And so I was expecting, like tofu and the wheatgrass, very healthy. Would you believe they served me fried chicken and biscuits?
Well, you are at a ranch.
Well, I didn't think they were allowed in California.
Well, there you go. There's a go. Come to Southern Oregon. We'll give you some fresh salmon. How's that?
Hey, I'm all over that.
All right. Good to see you, Todd. Thanks for giving us a few moments of your time. Your latest book, God Bless America. What led you to write this book?
I'm a son of the South. I've lived here in New York City for about 10 years now. And one day I was sitting in my neighborhood. I live among the indigenous liberal people of Brooklyn, New York, with the, the hipster people with the skinny jeans and the ironic shirts. And one day I thought, I kind of feel like a Duck Dynasty guy living in a Miley Cyrus world where right is wrong and wrong is right, and it seems like everything's topsy-turvy. So I started writing this book, God Bless America, and I came to discover that not only is there a war on religious liberty here in the United States, I truly believe this is a war that's directed specifically at people of the Christian faith. And so...
Okay.
War...
All right, all right, sorry about that. We had a little bit of a Skype burp. Let me ask you this, Todd. If people don't see the title, they wouldn't hear it right. I mean, because you got three separate words: God, then less, and America. Give us your explanation of the title.
Well, the premise of the book is that secular humanists are trying to remove God from the public marketplace of ideas, and they're trying to marginalize people of the Christian faith. And I give examples of that in the military, for instance. We tell stories about how diversity training seminars were teaching our soldiers, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, that Roman Catholics and evangelical Christians are examples of religious extremism. I tell stories about how Christian business owners have come under attack for their faith, and the courts are ruling that gay rights trump religious rights. And quite frankly, they're telling these owners, you really don't have a right to practice your business using your Christian faith. That's just unacceptable in America now.
Do you think us Christian broadcasters are in trouble because just our basic everyday language could be considered hate speech?
Oh, I think that's a very real possibility. I was talking to David Jeremiah for the book, and he told me that when he has to, when they send their radio sermons to Canada, they have to edit those sermons so that his messages don't violate Canada's hate crime laws. And I believe that's going to start happening here. Look, just a few hundred miles down the coast from you guys in Pasadena, California, there is a pastor that's currently facing an investigation. This pastor, bivocational, he also directs Pasadena's health department. Someone found out that he preached a sermon opposing homosexuality. Now, a sermon in his church pulpit, mind you, and he was suspended from his job. And now the city is going through and they're investigating his other sermons to determine if he's actually qualified to hold a city job. I believe that we're going to see more instances of this kind of behavior in the months and the years to come.
So we're clearly in a pluralistic war. Whose God is the real God? I mean that's the bottom line of what we're dealing with here. But as we look at this, it appears to me, Todd, that a lot of Christian organizations just don't go there anymore. I mean, why talk about homosexuality? Why talk about abortion? Let's just avoid it for the sake of convenience so that we don't get involved in anything. Are we surrendering by doing that?
Well, look, that's a great question you raise, and that has been the challenge. Many churches and many large, influential evangelical churches have decided to sit this out. They don't want to offend people. That's just not their thing, talking about these culture war issues. But the fact of the matter is, we are citizens in this country, the United States, and we have responsibilities, we have obligations, and if we don't stand up and protect religious liberty and defend religious liberty, then who is going to do it for us? Certainly not the secular humanist, certainly not the left-wingers. So it's troubling, and I write about this in the book, how disturbing it is that we now have pastors who are saying, you know what, we don't want to talk about these issues from the pulpit. We're just going to do our thing. Well, with all due respect, at the end of the day, it's certainly admirable, and we are called by Christ to take care of the less fortunate. But if your thing is building water wells for people, and the government comes in and padlocks your church, you're not going to be able to supply water wells for people. So yes, supply the water wells, but you also have to be willing to stand up and, in good measure, talk about these political issues.
Do you see a pushback?
From the church, or from
well, government? Just from the faith community, whether it's out of the church or organizations like this one or others.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And and I understand that, because there are many progressive Christians will say, well, we ought not to intervene. We should let the persecution come because it's predicted in the scriptures, and we should just sit back and allow it to come. And I understand what those folks are saying, and I understand their philosophy, but my point of view is this: if I wanted to be persecuted for my faith physically, if I wanted to serve or to attend an underground church, I would just move to China. We don't have to do that here right now. Right. So why not protect the religious liberties that we have here in this country?
All right. Boy, that is extremely well said. By the way, how are you treated as a Christian at Fox? That's a personal question, but I'm going to ask it.
You know, it's a blessing to work here. This is a company that supports the Constitution. And I appreciate that they give people of faith a fair shake here. And they let me do what I do. You know, I have full autonomy with the stories that I cover here.
Wow.
Of course, I have editors and fact checkers and things of that nature, but they let me decide what stories I want to cover. And I can tell you that I've never been censored. You know, they've never said, don't do this story. And they've always given me a platform. And I really appreciate that. I think it speaks highly of Roger Ailes and the staff, you know, and the leadership here at Fox News Channel.
You know, Todd, we take a lot of phone calls here through our ministry, radio and television, and all the digital platforms that we're on. And it boils down, and a lot of these calls are calls for help and hope and encouragement, boils down to two things. What is truth, and who can I trust? Now, if that is the core questions that Americans are answering, it's the church's golden hour to stand up and answer it.
Well, you're absolutely right. Over the weekend, I was speaking at Jim Barlow's church, Skyline Church, in San Diego, and Pastor Garlow was one of the few men willing to stand up and take a stand for you know, in these very difficult issues. And you know, a lot of arrows have come their way. And look, I totally understand. A lot of pastors really fear for the backlash that they would get in their communities and quite frankly, even in their churches, if they stood up for these issues. But at the end of the day, it's going to take all of us standing up together in a spirit of love and saying, you know what, we need to return to the values and the traditions that this country was founded upon. And as I write in my book, I'm encouraged by this new generation of young Americans, teenagers and college kids who are taking a stand. And I believe that we could be seeing the next Billy Sunday or Billy Graham coming out of this generation of young people.
Boy, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because everything that I research shows that they don't need to hear the same sermon 15 times. They only need to hear it once, and they're willing to drop everything and go serve.
Well, you're absolutely right. And I think people are at the point now where, and keep in mind, we have a generation now of young people, and I grew up in the Southern Baptist faith tradition. We went, you know, I remember going to Sunday school and church training union where we learned the basic foundations of the faith. And sadly now we have, for at least the past dozen or so years, churches that have gone away from expository preaching and more into self-help type sermons. And what that watered down version of the gospel does is it weakens the body of Christ, because we have many people out there now who cannot defend their faith and really, quite frankly, are just clueless about it. You know, and again, just look at where we are. Churches in decline. You know, fewer and fewer people are accepting Christ. Baptisms are down. Why do you think that is?
Well, Todd, you are an inspiration. Thank you. The book is called God Less America. You may want to check it out online at Barnes & Noble, at Amazon, Todd Starnes, and get a copy of it and read it. Thank you, man, for your passion and your conviction. Keep up the good work, and I'd love to have you back often.
It's been an honor, and I would love to do that.
All right. Blessings to you, friend. Have a great day.
God bless you.
Okay. All right. Stick around. Coming up next, some great programming here on the Dove TV and throughout the day. Thanks. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Jim and I work at the Dove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.